Hello, everyone. It's a little different place today, and you probably can hear from the background my parent, my mom. We're hosting two family friends today, and yeah, they're spending the night, and I'm in a different room because they're having my room to sleep in. So I'm being a little gracious, but today I wanted to talk about maybe not uh, extensively like I did the last. Uh, Maybe not as extensively as I have been. I think the last couple of times I've just been keeping it short and sweet. Um, Specifically today, I'm pretty tired. I didn't go to bed until late last night. I had to wake up in the morning, so a little iffy. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about Rainy Maria Rilke. Rilke? Is that how you say his name, Rilke? He's, from my understanding, he's a poet during the early 1900s who has a lot, um, who wrote a lot about the meaning of life through philosophy and understanding what life has to give for us and what we have to give for our life as well, and how one of his main messages is not the topic of this video, but just the main one of his main messages is rather or not trying to answer the questions of life, but rather living the questions of life. So, in another way, the meaning of life is to live life, to be active, to have purpose, rather than find that answer. So, for us, it's to play the game of life. And to play the game of life is to participate in life and try to understand its mysteries and understand its complexity, its paradoxes, and try our best to live the best we can in this life. And some people are going to play well, some people are going to play it poorly. Another, I forgot Maria Popovich's essay or little article on it, but there was a commencement speech with this famous Russian writer, and he also talks about how a life has a set of rules, but there's no referee for that game. So a lot of us, as uh, since there is no referee, we well kind of cheat. We cheat on life. We don't engage in it fully. We do what we want to do. We want to do sidetrack or we find that we don't want to listen to the rules of life for what is happening. We rather create our own rules and live by our own way instead of being part of life and engaging in reality and submitting and accepting to reality. This concept can be easily connected to the Tao Te Ching and what that talks about, how Lao Tzu talks about not a do. So, recap, not a do is effortless action. So, it's action, but done in a specific way that you get the most optimized outcome. And that's, I think, what this commencement speech is talking about too, is that there's these rules in life that life is governed by. It's these paradoxes, it's these moderations, it's the principle of moderation, it's the principle of paradoxes, it's the principle of first. And it's these rules that life is governed by, but we normally apply our own prejudices, our own thoughts into it, our own beliefs, rather than playing by the rules of life. Well, what Nana Do does, not effortless action, the effortless action is you accept life as it is, and then
What are you doing?
yes, good night. She could have said hi, but anyways, so the effortless action. So instead of resisting the rules of life, we submit and accept them. And by accepting and submitting to them, we can also exert a little bit of force and action in certain aspects of life to get the most optimized outcome. So, for example, I think the biggest one in the Tao Te Ching is to exalt yourself is to be humbled, and to humble yourself is to exalt all yourself. What does that mean? Well, exalting is being praised. So if you look up for praise, then you're going to be humbled. You're going to be cut down. But if you humble yourself, then you inevitably get praise around you. People will look towards you and also praise you in a sense. That's what we find with Jesus is love thy neighbor, and his core tenets of sticking by that and saying, I follow God. I am humbled by God, and thus as I am humble. And then everyone around him praised him for his humbleness and his love for humanity, love of being his neighbor. But let's think about it as a non-ado and effortless action way, is that being humble and looking inward on yourself and seeing what you can change, because you understand that you're not a perfect being, but that you can grow from that because you're not perfect, takes much less action, much less effort, and then try and exert your will and action onto others or different external environments, or to be ambitious and force people to praise you. It takes a lot more energy, where the results in that situation of trying to exalt yourself or praise yourself isn't as fruitful or isn't as successful as doing the limited action, the effortless action of, I'm going to work on myself, I'm going to humble myself and grow myself, and thus the praise and the exalting comes to you without even trying. Of course, this is with the stipulation that you don't try to humble yourself to be exalted, because that's a desire in itself. You want to desire to be desireless, and you want to have the point of humbling yourself is not to be insulted, it's to humble yourself and grow. So it's connecting it back to Kant now. So Kant's main moral philosophy of treat people as a end rather than a means, meaning I shouldn't and go to you to, I shouldn't be your friend so that I can go and get money off you later on. That's a means to end. I'm using the friend as a means to get money later on. No, you should use that friend as an end. You should care about that person as an end. And in this situation, to humble yourself and grow yourself, that should be the end of itself. You should want to grow yourself because you want to grow yourself. You want to be humble with yourself. So that effortless action of improving yourself, of growing yourself, has ripple effects that just ripple outward. So, let's connect all this all back. So, to follow the rules of life is to understand these principles, these rules of life. Notice them, start implementing them in your life, and knowing that there are no referees, no one to tell you what to do, so you have to grow and reflect yourself, and then implement them in your life, and then reflect and grow continuously, what I call Kaizen. And by doing that, you are able to infinitely grow yourself into a virtuous and loving human being, and I would say fulfill all the purpose of life, which is to play the game of life, and hopefully well. And in this instance, I would argue you're playing it well, because as life in general is the opposite of death, and death is, well, the state of death is stillness, it's nothingness. And with life, it is growth, it is literally a living beings. So to do something contrary to that, like say murder, is to go against life. You are subjugating someone to the state of death. You're killing them and subjugating them to stillness and nothingness. And that's opposite of what the meaning of life would be, which is to play the game of life. And you're depriving someone from playing that game, so it would be contrary to that meaning. So the most important thing I'm trying to get out of here is that there's principles and rules to life, and instead of rejecting these principles and rules to life and making our lives hard because we think we know better than what the rules tell us in life, in our reality, by doing this, we ultimately hurt ourselves. And since there's no referee, no literal God figure telling us, and these are how the rules should be played, a lot of people don't play the game right. They lose, or they're losing, or they're even indifferent. They don't want to play the game. So how to win the game is, first we got to accept that we're going to play the game of life. Then we got to understand and accept the rules and policies, principles of life. And then we have to work around that. How do we best navigate in this life? And I think that's where non-ado comes in, effortless action, of how can we best use our efforts to produce the most life and the most good in the world. Because I think life and good has some correlations. I don't necessarily think death is evil, because I think evil's more a human contraption. And I don't even think it's the state of death is bad. I think there's more of a oneness to it. But that's understanding the principles of life, the rules of life, is understanding that there's this kind of oneness. That's my opinion, just from what I've seen and what I've experienced. But it's going to be different from everyone else, and you're going to have your own evidence and experiences that you can bring forth to this question. But at the ultimate end of the day, we should be trying to understand this life, understand and what we're doing, like how to play this game and what the rules are to this game. so we can best move through this world, through the present moment, and grow and be a human being. Being or becoming, being the verb and not the solid state of man. Instead, being active, existing. So yeah, I thought I wasn't gonna do that much because for some reason my throat is just, it feels like a knot in here in my throat, and I think that's anxiety. Might be a little anxiety. I don't really know, but I think they did pretty good today. It's wild. I connected so much, so I had a lot to talk about. Anyways, I'm going to bed. Hope y'all have a good night. See y'all tomorrow.